Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel, man. Today we have a Toronto Raptors trade video. If you guys enjoy this, you like more Raptors content, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I post Raptors videos just about every single day, and with the trade deadline on Thursday, it's currently Monday when I'm making this, I fully anticipate the Raptors to make a move. Now, is it going to be a big-time move like the trade we have today, or is it going to be more low-key, focused, and centered around Goran Dragic and just kind of trying to get any type of bench piece that you really can? Due to the Nets losing 8 straight games, the Toronto Raptors and the Raptors on their win streak, the Raptors are now the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference, so they wouldn't even have to play in the play-in tournament anymore. And man, this win streak has been very nice. 7 of the last 10, 5 straight victories. And yeah, we'll see what they decide to do at the trade deadline. But here's today's trade from sportsnet.ca. This is a Goran Dragic trade for Jonas Valanciunas, and the guy who made this was Michael Grange. So here we go. Dragic, Achua, top 10 protected 22 first-round draft pick and a 2023 second-round pick for Jonas Valanciunas and Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So, really interesting trade. Obviously, Valanciunas used to be a Toronto Raptor, but this season, man, he's not the same player. He is not well, it's not just this season, but he is not the same player as he was in Toronto all the way back in 2018, 2019, which really wasn't that long ago. This season so far, Valanciunas 18.2 points per game, 11.7 rebounds, 2.5 assists, a block per game. And the craziest part about Jonas Valanciunas is he's taken 2.5 threes per game, which is by far double the most he's ever taken in his career. And he's making them at a 41% clip. So absolutely crazy what Valanciunas has become ever since he left Toronto. Literally, the year he leaves Toronto, puts up 20 points and 11 rebounds. And there's very, very little players who can put up 20 and 10 as an average. It really makes me, as a Rockets dude, it really makes me respect Christian Wood's year last year. So this is a really interesting trade. Valanciunas really does a lot for this team, in my opinion. I mean, first off, you'd have like your star type of center, and for Precious Achua, I think that he would be the piece I would hate to see go the most. My hopes are high for Precious. I don't know if Precious is going to turn into like a star in Toronto, or if they're going to have to trade him. The thing is with Toronto, like, they're not really in a rush to do this trade, but they also at the same time kind of are, because they just have such a talented roster. They already have such a talented starting five that a guy like Valanciunas, just any kind of star center, even a guy like Pirtle, I mean, they would do so much for this team, man. They would do so much for this team. There are times, now that the Raptors are fully healthy, you don't really see this as much, but there are times where their half-court offense just kind of freezes. Like, they'll literally go through stretches where offensively they just can't do much. And unfortunately, it happened in the fourth quarter a couple of games ago. They were still able to get the job done. But, sometimes you'll go through those like 3-minute stretches where you just can't buy a bucket. And having a guy like Valanciunas, who, I mean, defensively he's fine. I think that might be, if you're going to try and find another reason as far as why this trade isn't great, it's probably because of Valanciunas' defense. Like, I would rather prefer a guy like Miles Turner, who kind of just fits Toronto already. Like, his body type, long and big, is just kind of exactly what Toronto's looking for. Valanciunas just kind of, I mean, he's kind of like the same thing, just not an athletic freak, and also not getting 3 blocks per game. But I think this trade would be in their best interest. But like I said, man, you're getting rid of first-round draft pick, and you're getting rid of Precious Achua. Precious is a player who, if they're going to be wanting a star, a guy like Miles Turner, a guy like Valanciunas, Precious is probably going to have to be the one to be traded. Precious, he's only in his second year, but when he has been given an opportunity, he'll go through these stretches of just really nice, whether it's just even like a simple 10-point, 10-rebound game in 25 minutes, it's clear he has a lot to offer teams. There's a lot of upside there. And with Toronto, it's You have, your core group of guys, Freddie, OG, Siakam, Gary. Are you trying to, well, a lot of those guys were young, but like more like Siakam and Freddie, like, are you trying to, why not just win right now? You guys are still young, but you're not young like a, Scotty Barnes. So let's just try and win some games now. You also kind of got to think about the future of Scotty Barnes. What does this trade do? Probably put Scotty Barnes on the bench. Unless they're trying to bench a guy like Gary Trent Jr., which I just don't see happening. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, he'll give you about 12 off of the bench. He's only in his third NBA year. He's not afraid to take shots. So I think that's one of the reasons I think this trade would be kind of cool, is just because, offensively, that guy is like an absolute menace. So this is an interesting trade. You got to think, that lottery protection is kind of just more there for collateral. Like Toronto most likely makes the playoffs and most likely has a later first-round draft pick. So, you got to think about that. This draft isn't as deep as last year, so if this might be a good year, if you're going to have a late first-round draft pick, to go ahead and trade it for a guy like Valanciunas, who's going to give you a couple of more years left on his contract, playing at a high level. He's just, in his prime at 29 years old. And then you also have Walker, who's a young, promising player who can already help you off of the bench. Not shooting too great from downtown this season, only about 31%, but in his first 2 years in the NBA, he was shooting about 35%. So this is a tough trade, man. This is definitely a tough trade, and personally, I think Toronto can get better. I really think they can get better. Valanciunas is a guy who's just really interesting, because if you guys have been watching my channel for a while, you know my thoughts on, like, if the Raptors were to trade for a guy like Miles Turner, or I've said if the Raptors traded for Karl Anthony Towns, like, they would probably make the Eastern Conference Finals right away. He's such a good player, and the Raptors already have such a good starting five that you just get the Raptors like a star center, a guy like Miles Turner, one more bench piece, while also at the same time not giving away too many pieces. Like, this trade isn't bad. You're, getting rid of Precious is tough, but that's why you got Ken Burch there. That's why you have, Chris Boucher there to kind of help make up for the fact, I guess. But like I said, Precious is only in his second year, so it's been relatively inconsistent. But as of late, he's really been helping off of the bench and at least giving them like 8 points, 5 rebounds every single night, and at least helping them get to that victory line. Raptor Nation, I need to hear from you guys down below, man. This is a tough trade. Once again, it's Dragic, Achiuwa, a top 10 protected 2022 first round pick, and a 2023 second for Valanciunas and Alexander Walker. Like I said, man, I think the Raptors can get a better trade some way, somehow out there. I think it's out there. So I would probably say no to this trade, but if it were to go down, I would definitely be really excited for Toronto, and I would be really excited to see what happens to them at the end of this year and even next year. They'd be extremely scary if they just kind of filled out their bench. So that's it for today. If you guys enjoyed it, hit the like button, hit that sub button. I'll see you guys later.